Hello, aspirants. I'm Adil Baig, faculty of KingMakers IAS Academy. So, to all aspirants who are very serious in this preparation and who want to pursue their dream of becoming the civil servant, in order to help you to reach that dream, we are inviting various toppers who have cleared the examination in prelims, mains, and personality test of 2021. And we are discussing their personal journey, their strategy, the nuances of preparation which they followed so that they could clear this examination, and their ups and downs in their lives, which will be very relevant for you. And we hope that it is going to help you in some sort or the other in your own preparation. So in this lineup of toppers, today we have one special topper, Mr. Nitish. Mr. Nitish is from Maharashtra. So he's from a village called Goregaon. So he basically based on the PubBad optional, and in between he shifted to anthropology and to PubBad again, and he cleared the civil services examination in his 8th attempt. So he's having a journey of 10 years, an experience in civil services preparation of 10 years, an experience, and he saw the prelims, mains, and personality tests at the close quarters for the past 10 years, and he has seen various ups and downs. So I'm sure this interview is going to help a lot of new aspirants, fresh aspirants, with respect to the mistakes which aspirants should avoid. And it is going to be a very big motivational factor for all those senior aspirants out there who are in their 4th attempt, 5th attempt, and who have hit the wall and thinking whether we have to continue or not. So with all this note, I welcome Mr. Nitish for this interactive session. Welcome, Mr. Nitish. So first of all, let us start with your journey. So can you brief us about your journey, which started in 2014 to 2021, where you ended up securing All India 559th rank in 2021 Civil Services Examination?
So before starting this particular session, I would like to point out that the title of this particular session is Success Story. So I would like to call my story as a story of failure. So many setbacks, and consistently right after attempts, I had experienced so many failures and setbacks. So I think I would like to call it a story of a failure. Sorry, sir. And what was the question again?
But one thing to note is ultimately we are talking about the ends. The end is success.
So
it is going to be the success story. The means will have its ups and downs. The question is, can you brief about your journey from your college at the end of the college till All India 559?
The thing is, right after my college that I passed in 2012, in the college itself, I had decided that I'm going to prepare for civil services, right in the 3rd year itself. Me and some of my friends had decided, okay, this is going to be our career path into civil services. And right after my college, I started preparing for the exam. For earlier 2 attempts, like for 1st and 2nd attempts, I didn't have any kind of proper guidance. So that time, I was just searching here and there and then trying to prepare, but clearly it didn't help. Thing is, I wasn't really aware about the process. I didn't have any idea about what sort of books we are supposed to read. So in this process only, my 2 attempts got wasted. So in 2015, Tina Dabi ma'am had secured rank 1, and she had made a video about the book list that we are supposed to prepare. From that book list only, I got the idea that these are the books that I'm supposed to read from. And then onwards, I started preparing for the exam. And in that very year, in 2016 itself, I qualified prelims, I qualified mains, and appeared for the interview with PubBad optional. I hardly got around 45 days, and within that 45 days, we had managed to kind of cover the syllabus. And in that year, I got around 280 marks in the public administration. But again, I was mistakenly hoping that, okay, this is going to be my last attempt and I would get the success very easily. But this is not what happens in the UPSC journey, and most of us are aware about that. Because we clearly know what is going to happen, what is going to be the end result in any attempt. So again, I was fooled in that very attempt. I didn't feature in the final list, and hardly 17 days were left. And then I took a wrong call again. I appeared for 2017 prelims, and clearly I failed because I was not that prepared. Then again, the journey for prelims started. I prepared well, and in 2018, I again qualified prelims. Then I wrote mains. I dedicated my around 80% time to optional preparation. But despite that, I couldn't score good marks in the optional that year. For bad, I got only 230 marks. So I was really disheartened because that was my around 4th attempt. And I thought, okay, now this is the fourth attempt, and I should somehow find out the option that is going to reward me in least possible time. So that time anthropology was trending. Again, I opted for anthropology. But again, the thing is, I wasn't really enjoying studying anthropology because somewhere I enjoyed PubAd. And I had opted anthropology for the sake of getting into the services, but that doesn't work that way, right? So because of that, I couldn't prepare well, and I ended up getting only 280 marks. Sorry, 28, not 280, 180 marks, 90, 90 each in paper 1 and paper 2. That is, I guess one of the least lowest score that year. And so 2019 passed. In 2020, again I prepared for prelims. Then COVID happened. I couldn't clear the prelims because I was also infected from COVID, and post-COVID impact hangover that I was still going through. So that that kind of impacted my concentration, my memory. So I wasn't able to recall anything. I wasn't able to remember anything, and the things I was reading, I wasn't able to comprehend them. So this impacted badly in the prelims exam as well. And after solving the prelims paper, I wasn't able to recall any question. Till today, I don't recall those questions like which I had attempted in that very exam. But again, I was a failure. So these many setbacks I had experienced in my life. And in order to overcome these many setbacks, I think we have to have some kind of support system. And that support system was provided to me by my family, my friends, and even my villagers, because all of them kept encouraging me throughout my journey. Every time I used to go to my village, they used to tell me, okay, if not, it hasn't happened this time, next time it will definitely happen. Don't give up. And somewhere I knew that if I'm sincere enough, if I'm putting my efforts honestly, then somewhere down the lane, I might get success, because there is no certainty again in the UPSC. So in 2020 only, one of my friend got interview call, and that kind of inspired me again. That kind of motivated me again. Okay, no, we have to start afresh. And then I changed my strategy entirely. What I tried to do was in all my early attempts, I was little scared of the result, little scared of the outcome. And with that fear in mind, I was attempting. But this time I had decided, okay, I am not going to be afraid of anything, no matter what comes. This is just another exam, right? So many people are putting so much of stake in this exam. But again, this is just another exam, another job. And if I get through, fair enough. Otherwise, still there are so many things. And with this mindset, I prepared for this exam. And I thought, okay, no, I'm going to give my 100% this time. So I started preparing, I started writing answers. I started preparing my own notes with a new vigor, with new energy, just like my first attempt. And somehow it rewarded me. And in my 8th attempt, I got 559 rank. So this was my brief journey.
So instead of giving your 8th attempt, you gave your first attempt again.
Yeah,
you
right.
relived your first attempt again with whatever strategy you learned in the 7 attempts. You applied that and gave a first attempt, and that led to the success. This is a very inspiring line, actually. So the one follow-up question from this thing. So there are many aspirants who will be clearing 3rd attempt, who will not be clearing in 3rd attempt, who will not be clearing in 4th attempt, and they'll still have this self-doubt whether we could do this or not, whether how we can pursue this or not. And a few will leave the entire preparation and go towards the some other way, and a few will still stand there. So what is that 1 or 2 reasons or few reasons that made you to hold your grounds and made you to continue the preparation without giving up? What is the reason?
So actually, I had my reasons very clear in my mind. The reason being why I wanted to pursue civil services. I come from a village background. Right now, I'm living in a taluka place, but earlier I used to live in a village, nearby village with 3,000 population only. And I had seen the work done by administration there. I had seen the kind of impact the administration can create. And also during my engineering days also, I had come across some of the works done by various civil servants. So that kind of inspired me to prepare for the exam. And that why always stayed with me. Even today, I know that why. So if I have that very reason why I want to prepare for this civil services, whether the reason I have is good enough to put in so much of effort, so much of time, and so much of energy in this exam, if that is clear enough, then I think despite setbacks, despite so many failures, one can continue. But again, one another thing that has to be there with each and every candidate is that the self-doubt is, I think, a function of hard work that you put in, the sincerity. When we are not sincere enough, when we are not putting our 100%, I think that self-doubt creeps in. So if we are putting in that sincere effort, I think that doubt can be overcome. And again, with failures and also with some of the responsibilities that we have to carry on, we have to be really honest with ourselves and our family. We have to honestly tell them this is the case with me, and I'd like to have one more attempt with your support, of course. And if we are managed to convince ourselves, if we are managed to convince them, I think this journey becomes a little bit smoother.
So parents are the crucial support system in the entire journey. So one more question is that I've interacted with a lot of aspirants who are in their 5th attempt or 4th attempt. They are telling the issue of this mental saturation. That is, they couldn't study anymore. Like they couldn't sit with the Lakshmikant, or they couldn't sit with the spectrum. So they have reached the saturation, and they couldn't even concentrate for a continuous 3 hours after this 5 to 6 years of preparation. So did you face such problems, and how you overcome such issues to continue?
Of course, each and every aspirant will go through these kind of issues, because even if not after failure, after each stage we are bound to feel this kind of situation. Reason being, if we are attempting prelims, and then after prelims we are again starting with, say, example, Lakshmikant for polity, and if we come across this kind of topics on which the questions had appeared in the prelims, so that time they kind of remind me those questions which we had made wrong in the exam. So that is a little bit difficult. So I would suggest, take a break, at least a small break of 5-6 days, or say example 1 week, and after that rejuvenate yourself, either by going to your hometown or going to some other place where you can actually relax. And after that we can start, because taking that break is really important. Most of the people, they commit this mistake of continuously studying year after year and not taking breaks. So they get really bogged down because of this syllabus and same thing, reading the same thing again and again. So at times it kind of feel pukish. They'll feel like vomiting after reading the same book again and again. So in order to avoid that, one has to take some break. One has to rejuvenate their energy, re-energize themselves by taking some kind of break, some kind of relaxed time. I think that is going to help them. And also the motivation one can get from either from some books, either from stories of other people or their peer groups. If they are getting success, that can also be helpful in motivating them.
Like we are addressing about the saturation coming between the prelims and the mains, but my question specifically talks about a person who has been studying for 6 years but still couldn't see the success. They are seeing the failures again and again and again. So if so much amount of failures are coming, that would lead to some frustration, or that would lead to some anxiety or depression and self-doubt. So I'm asking, how did you handle that part after 6 years? So you would have started in 14, but in 2020 still you will be in the same place, without any success. So how did you overcome that aspect?
Actually, sir, after each of my attempt, I used to see if I'm getting closer to the success or not. That was one of my parameters. Also, writing answers, practicing myself. If I'm feeling that, okay, I have gotten closer to the what is required in UPSC, what is perceived to be required. Exactly, we don't know what exactly is required in the civil services. But again, if I'm getting good marks, that would also break that monotony or the boredom. I think for me that worked. And in my personal life also, I'm really motivated person, because when I'm getting a failure, so right after that, what I think about how to overcome this, how to try to change it. And I don't keep on thinking about, okay, now this is my failure, so I'm not able to, I won't be able to overcome it or not. So I don't keep on thinking like that. That is my personal experience. But again, each and every person have their own ways. I think one has to introspect what exactly went wrong. And if that person feels, okay, this thing can be changed, and if that person is motivated enough or dedicated enough to change it, I think that can overcome it. But again, this is very personal thing, because each and every person has different personality. Some of my friend, they keep on dwelling, okay, why they have got the failure, why they were not able to clear it. And for me, it was always about how can I clear it, instead of just thinking about why I couldn't clear it. So instead of thinking about why did I fail, I used to think about why didn't I succeed, and how can I succeed in this exam.
Okay.
So that was the case.
Interesting. So instead of thinking about the why you failed, you thought about how can you succeed?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a very inspiring quote again. So another follow-up question is that your peers who finished college along with you would have reached good jobs, or they would have attended the good career status. So that will be itself a pressure, like peers getting higher and higher. They are getting married, they are getting settling in life, but we are still in the preparation. So, and this kind of pressure is another pressure which will affect you. So how did you see this pressure coming from the peers and friends?
Right, sir. Actually, in this sense, I was really lucky, because I have all the friends who kept on encouraging me all the time. Although they were going ahead in their lives, they were getting married, they were getting good success in their careers. But whenever I used to face some kind of setbacks, they all used to come to me. They all used to take me on a trip, and then they used to encourage me. So that was one of the things that didn't put some kind of pressure on me. But apart from that, I used to talk to them whether it is worth it. Are they really happy with the job? And one thing I had concluded: no matter what job they are doing, everyone is bound to have some kind of dissatisfaction with their job. So why not to do the job that you are actually going to love? And this is something that I thought my intellectual personality will be really satisfied with. It will really enjoy working in this particular segment. So that kind of clarity that I had, and they also encouraged me ki, it's not like that. It's not going to be all rosy in the corporates also. So if they are also in the same boat, I'm also in the same boat. So what is the point of really worrying about it?
I can clearly empathize with you, Mr. Nitish. So
Yes,
one important aspect is that you, apart from your sheer determination and persistence, you had a very beautiful support from your family and friends.
Right, sir. Yeah.
So that is another important support system which an aspirant should have in order to be focused in this journey. So that is one important takeaway. So
for that, family and friends are really, really important. One should always have those people, because these are the people you can talk about. These are the people you can share your insecurities or vulnerabilities with. That is really important. Otherwise, what will happen? We'll keep on saturating these emotions in ourselves, and then we won't have our control. We won't have any control over our emotions. So that is actually problematic thing. And if we are not getting peace with our failures, we are not making peace with our failures, we are not actually wholeheartedly accepting them and then trying to overcoming them, then this can act as a problem in the next attempt, because anything can actually exploit these weaknesses. And I think UPSC is all about overcoming weaknesses. That's all.
Exactly. Overcoming weaknesses is the main attitudinal aspect which is needed. So talking about all this journey, so let us one more important thing is how frequently you are following your hobbies or taking these breaks in this entire journey.
So usually I used to take break only after exams.
Okay.
Right after exams, I used to take break. Either I used to come to my hometown or used to go and meet my friends. Apart from that, my hobby is creative writing and storytelling. Storytelling, I used to practice on a daily basis. Like if I'm trying to convey someone something, I used to start with the story. So that kind of, that is on a daily basis I used to practice. And apart from that, creative writing is something that I really enjoy. So whenever I used to get overwhelmed with anything, whenever something used to trigger me, I used to write it. And I think writing helped me solve all the problems. It gives us perspective. It actually helps us put the problem in in a manner that can actually help us to find out the ways how to overcome them. And I think that helped me. So whenever I used to feel anything really strongly, I used to write about it.
Okay, so how far these skills helped you in essay writing, like telling stories or writing anecdotes? Was it handy?
Yeah, sir, it really helped me because I had this knack of picking up the stories and writing things in order to convey my thoughts clearly. It really helped me in my previous attempts, although they were not of great help in this particular attempt. I think I made some kind of mistakes in this attempt because I got really less mark in essay this year. But in my earlier attempts, I got really good marks. Say example, 151 marks I had gotten in essay, and that was only because of this habit of mine of writing things, of telling stories. And also during my school days, in my school they used to organize essay competition on every Saturday, and that kind of inculcated this habit of writing essays since my childhood only, and I think that was handy for me.
Oh, your school used to have essay competition every week.
Right, every week, sir. Yeah.
Wow. So that is a very important takeaway because reading and writing practice among the kids is very important for the future.
Right.
This is one important takeaway for the school administration too. So with respect to from now will move on to your preparation journey.
Right, sir.
So we'll start with the optionals first. So you started off with your journey with public administration and you got very good score in 280.
Yes,
but
sir.
what made you to change the optional? Because 280 is a very good score. And why did you want to change to another optional?
Sir, I got 280 in 2016. In 2017, I couldn't clear the prelims itself. In 2018, I thought if I study more, then I might get 300 plus marks in PABAT. So I started dedicating more time to optional and less time to GS. I think that was my mistake, because we do not know anything for sure, like how many marks are we going to get in one particular optional, and what is surely going to work in one particular thing. We have no idea. So we have to have this balanced approach with respect to optional, with respect to GS, and with respect to essay as well. So I kind of committed mistake on that front. I dedicated my 80% time, and despite dedicating that much of time, I couldn't get good marks. I got 230 marks that year. That kind of shook my confidence in that optional. And it was my fifth attempt. So the thing is, if I wasn't getting success in my fifth attempt, I thought, okay, I need to change some strategy. I need to bring in some change, because that time anthropology was getting good marks. So and of course, the reason why I got bad mark, the reason I couldn't get good marks in optional that year was also I wasn't confident enough. So that's why after that, I always ensured no matter what happens, you have to have this confidence that one can do it, because in the mains, it is more of a knowledge that we have accumulated throughout the years, and not just what we have studied in those say last days or 1 or 2 months. Because what has been internalized in that particular option, or any subject that helps in the mains answer writing. So instead of having this clarity in my mind, I relied on, I went there with low confidence, which clearly reflected in my marks. So because of this low confidence, because of this self-doubt, I changed to anthro. I thought opting for anthro might help me in getting success sooner. But clearly, again, that didn't help, and I got only 180 marks. So that was a big mistake. And another reason for not getting good marks in anthropology was that I wasn't really enjoying studying that subject. So these are the things that one should consider while opting for optional. One must love that optional, because that is one subject that we have to study a lot. That is, we have to excel in order to get good marks. And if you are not loving or enjoying reading that subject, then there is no point, and there is no way one can get good marks. That is what I feel. So I think that is one of the criteria that one should have while opting for the optionals, which I tried to change after again going back to public administration in my 8th attempt.
So seeing your journey, one observation which I could see is people generally tend to take decisions. So they tend to avoid the risky decisions. So they always wanted to be in the comfort zone. So you were in the comfort zone of PubBat, but you took a decision of changing the optional so that you could clear. So that is a very bold decision. So many of the aspirants, they fail to take it. But changing optionals works for many people, but unfortunately it didn't work for you. So when you found that it is not working, you took another very, very bold decision. So the decision of coming back to PubBat is a very bold decision compared to what you took, because many will be reluctant. So from this, it is clear that you are not having any fear of taking risky decisions. So and it needs a lot of mental endurance. So how you make your decision? So what made you to in which sense I'm asking is, how could you make such decisions where majority of the people are reluctant to take? What drove you, apart from not liking anthropology? What made you to come back to PubBat?
Right, sir. I think the reason behind it is so many experiences, the amount of experiences that I had throughout my life. I think I would give this as one of the factor behind taking me this kind of bold decisions. I would like to narrate a story. So in 2018, after writing prelims, I wasn't getting good marks. When I tried to check it with answer keys, I wasn't getting good marks, and I was really disheartened. That was the only time I felt hopeless, because that very day I didn't feel okay. I thought I won't have anything to cling on to. I won't have any job. What will I do with my life? So that one day I felt really hopeless, and I knew that I don't want to feel this hopeless. No matter if I get success, no matter if I get failure, I don't want to feel hopeless. And I consciously tried to overcome that feeling, and I tried to tell myself, okay, during my engineering, during my civil services preparation, one thing is sure, that I am capable enough. I tried to tell myself, okay, this is not the verdict on your capability. This is not the verdict on your skills. This is just the verdict on your how much hard work that you have put in that particular attempt. But this is not the comment upon your talent or anything. So that I made sure that I don't doubt upon. I think this has frozen. Hello. Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible. What about the video?
Video. Yeah. I think connection is really weak. Let me just check.
Weak from my side?
Achha, yeah. You have disabled it, sir.
Oh, I have disabled.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now it will come. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So yeah, continue.
So that conscious efforts of me not doubting myself helped me take the bold decisions, sir. And I think it has become the personality trait of mine, because whenever I think this particular approach or this particular flexibility can reward me, I try to make this cost benefit analysis of everything, and then I see if I can make it work, and if I feel that okay, I can make it work, then I go ahead with it. And that is exactly the reason that I could clear in this attempt and not clear in previous attempts, because I was afraid in previous attempts, sir. After 2018, I consciously made this effort of not getting afraid of anything, not getting afraid of result, not getting afraid of outcome, and not entirely basing or judging myself on the basis of outcome of that particular exam. Because what happens, so many people, they give too much of importance to the exam, and when they are not able to clear it, they doubt their personality, they doubt their talent, they start judging themselves negatively, and they start making themselves their own enemy. And I don't think that is a good strategy, because if you make yourself your enemy, then who else is going to help you when it comes to dealing with difficult situation? So that doesn't help that way.
So absolutely true. So failure in this examination doesn't mean that we are not capable enough. So sometimes there are many variables which are not in our control, so which will play its role in making us to clear this examination. So that
is why in the beginning itself I called it a story of failure and not story of success.
Yeah, but still it is a very inspiring story for a lot of people. So now we'll go on to the next part. So
Right.
how was your optional preparation? Like whether you had the personalized handwritten notes for entire public administration, or what is your way of approaching the optional preparation? How you made yourself ready?
So actually, in 2015, one of cleared prelims, and he had appeared for mains. He also had public administration optional. So after he came back to Pune, I was preparing from Pune. I asked him what should be my book list, and he told me clearly that these are the books that you are supposed to read. And I think those are really fairly common books that each person who is preparing for PubMed optional will read from. So I read those books only. But my strategy was reading them multiple times, not going after many books. Rather than I just stressed upon reading those 5-6 books multiple times and really excelling them, so that no matter what question comes based on those, based on the syllabus of public administration, I will have some kind of idea, because the questions are so dynamic that we have to combine the static knowledge along with the dynamic knowledge and then present the answer which will suit the demand of the question. So I stressed upon having my static or basic knowledge about the public administration really strong, and I tried to combine it with the knowledge of current affairs, because in newspaper we come across so many good articles which reflect upon the way administration is working, which reflect upon the thought process behind that uh, particular way of administration, or particular ideology behind that administration, and try to combine it with current affairs. And I think that strategy always helped me, at least with respect to optionals. Plus, I tried to write as many answers as possible. I used to discuss questions with my friends over phone. I used to discuss past year questions, and discussing past year questions gives us insight. They prepare us for next examination. I think that is one of the key criteria while when one is trying to succeed in at least in optionals. And of course, that is the same case with the GS as well. So PYQs, having static really strong and combining it with current affairs, plus practicing the answers. Yeah, it is simple formula. Yeah.
Exactly. So did you have individualized unit-wise notes or handwritten notes for each chapter in your optional, or you just
Yes.
read it?
No, sir. I didn't write my own notes in the beginning. I had bought some notes from the market, and I read them so many times. But in the end, when there are some of the topics for which we have to have the clarity with respect to particular theory, for example, new public management, new public administration, or a new public governance, we have to have some part that no matter what the question is, we have to write those many things. So those part I had written in my final notes, but I hadn't written extensive notes, at least for public administration. Although I had prepared digital format notes, that too from current affairs only, newspaper, and I tried to combine them with the static notes.
Okay, so how you used your public administration knowledge in your GS answer writing and essay answer writing? Was it useful, and did you consciously use it, or how well you handled that connection? Yeah,
right, sir. It is really helpful, at least for GS4, GS3, GS2, and essay also. There is so much of overlap. So I definitely use it, but one cannot entirely rely upon the optional knowledge to write the GS answers. That was the mistake that I had committed in 2016, because in 2016, although I got 280 marks in public administration, I got really less marks in GS2. So that is that moment I had realized GS2 is not going to be my public administration, and public administration is not going to be GS. So for each GS, I have to prepare separately. Although I can definitely borrow some of the knowledge from public administration, but I have to treat the GS paper as like GS only. So I try to emphasize more upon constitution, more on committees. Then some of the governance part that is not entirely based on public administration knowledge. So I tried to combine it, and then I think that helped me improve my marks in GS, because right after that, I was consistently getting decent marks in GS too, sir. That helped me in there. Also in ethics, in my previous attempts, I tried to use my knowledge of governance, that is ethics in governance. I tried to write case studies, examples from my optional in ethics. That was rewarding me, but unfortunately, in the in this eighth attempt, I tried to change my strategy in the last moment, and that costed me severely. I got really only 84 marks in my GS4. So again, that is not the good strategy. Good decision to change your strategy in the last moment. So this is one of the mistakes that I committed. But yeah, it definitely helps in essays also.
Fine. So what about, so let's talk about ethics now, since you mentioned ethics.
Right.
So what was your routine for ethics, and what change you made and that didn't work?
So in my early attempts, what I did was I used to read the standard books that are available for ethics. For example, earlier Lexicon was there. Then I tried to combine it with D.K. Balaji sir's book for ethics, and that was helping me. I used to integrate the knowledge of static books along with some practical consideration. For example, one of the case study was there wherein they had borrowed the idea of that case study from Kerala flood. So yeah, that case study was there.
They are trapped in the debris.
Right. Plus, it wasn't case of lack of resources, but they were not able to use those resources effectively. Reason being, the whirl around that flood was really strong. Then wind speed was really strong, so they were not able to use the chopper. They were not able to use the boats. So that was practical difficulty. So I had used this knowledge from current affairs in that case study, because most of the people will be writing the answer claiming that okay, there were lack of resources, unpreparedness on the part of administration. It was not so. They were having resources, they were prepared, but the thing is, calamity was of such a nature that they were not able to use it. So at times we don't have any control. Administration doesn't have any control. So I wrote those practical things, so those real things from the current affairs, and I think that was rewarding me, sir, in my earlier attempts. This time, what I tried to do was, I right away started addressing the question. Earlier, I used to write some of the philosophical part. I think that was helping me, but again, we are not sure what helps in the civil services. So I won't be able to comment upon it.
So everyone used to say that they used to make notes with respect to definition for each topic in ethics, and examples, definition, separate notes. So how was your notes for ethics, and did you made a separate detailed notes?
Not exactly detailed notes, but yeah, brief notes I had prepared. So I had prepared it from various books. I tried to write some of the key factors or key things in ethics in handwritten notes. That helped me. That definitely helped me to revise them in the last moment. So yeah, I had prepared those kind of notes. I had borrowed the knowledge from different books, and then I had compiled them. So that helped me, sir.
Okay, so now we'll come to the GS part of GS 1, 2, 3 preparation. Right. So what was your way of preparing GS 2 and 3? Like how you approached each areas during the preparation? Did you have notes, or what was your approach?
Mostly, sir, I relied upon revision of basics. Like I had prepared, I had studied basics for prelims, so I revised them thoroughly. So for that particular part, I didn't have to prepare notes. Combining that particular basic with knowledge of economic survey, budget, for that thing, I had prepared notes from newspaper, because newspaper gives detailed analysis of all these things. So I had prepared my digital notes for these particular topics. Then also I prepared GS 1, 2, 3 wise notes in digital format from Hindu and Indian Express. So that helped me prepare for contemporary issues of national and international importance. So that was mostly I was preparing notes from current affairs only, sir, because all the static and basic part I had revised thoroughly. I had revised multiple times. So for that particular thing, I didn't have to prepare the notes. Those things I had remembered, and these current affairs I had prepared notes for. So that was the thing. And then while writing the answers, I used to read both the things, and then I tried to combine both the things in my answers. I think that was helpful. That's what I feel. Because after studying the same books for 10 years, right from 2012 to 2022, I think static part we are fairly comfortable with. And but that is not solely responsible to get good marks. So we have to combine it with current affairs, and that current affairs is only going to give us the practical dimension to our answers. So that I consciously try to do that.
Okay, since you talked about the digital note making,
Right.
so what app you are using and how you make digital notes? But because still many aspirants, even if they try to make digital notes, they don't make it in an organized way, or they don't succeed in making good notes than how they compare to the paper based notes. So how you made your digital notes? What technology?
So I had used OneNote app. In OneNote app, we have the option of making different books. For example, GS 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have any option of sharing my that graphic you interface with the Zoom meeting, sir? Hello. So this way I had prepared my notes. Then GS 1, 2, 3, 4 essay public administration. Then dedicated to facts, data, statistics. Then various approaches that I had wrote down. Then for prelims also some of the key facts that I had remembered, and then for personality based. So this kind of options the OneNote provides, it really helped me, sir. For example, in GS3. In GS3, on each and every topic of the syllabus, almost on most of the topics, I had prepared these notes, sir.
Oh, wow.
For example, climate change, then national monetization, whatever topics used to appear in the news, I used to prepare the notes in this format. And it was really handy, sir, because reason being, I was reading the newspaper only in the digital format. So copying and pasting was really handy for me.
Okay, and so can you show that Pegasus leak thing, and can you scroll through that?
Yeah, only these many topics.
Only legal provisions.
For national security, sir, there are so many things.
Yeah.
For example, lawful
just scroll
interception.
Through.
Yeah, right.
Yes. You can explain and scroll.
Yeah. So the thing is, for example, I had compartmentalized various things with respect to national security. For example, some of the keywords that if I have to mention, then lawful interception, then police state. These are the keywords I had mentioned. Then if there is some data, for example, number of districts affected by left-wing extremism are down by 70%. And I used to also write the source of that information. If this information is shared by Mr. Shri Amit Shah in Parliament, so I used to mention that. Also, if AFSPA is lifted from some particular state, around 67% area, from 67% area, it has been lifted. So I used to mention in that data part. Then if there is some legal provisions, then which are the legal provisions, for example, NIA Act. And also, then I used to go to analytical part. Right. So in the analytical part, so all the dimensions, like example, if some positive dimensions are there to this particular thing, then I used to write them. Also, some of the concerns with respect to this thing, I also used to mention it. And then, if something, some new warfare, if some new terminology is being discussed, then I used to write that particular thing along with the source. Because this one particular thing that I always emphasize on while writing the answers, so not just writing the data, but writing the source of the data is also one of the important things.
Yes.
Right. If you are saying that inequality is increasing, though in that case, saying that is not enough, because that is really generalized statement. Inequality is increasing, or for example, most of the wealth is being concentrated in the hands of very few people. So that is also generalized statement, because anyone can talk on those lines, even on the tea stalls. But if you are writing the answers, then we have to substantiate with some of the facts, some of those sources, and then we have to quote the source.
Yeah. So is the screen sharing shop? Okay, I thought of asking you to show your GS4 notes.
Okay, fine, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Now you can share. Actually, it stopped. You reshare again and show GS4 also.
Fine. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
So in GS4, I didn't prepare much of the notes, sir. Thing is, most of the static things were available. But in GS4, what I tried to write example is from essays, because for essays I had prepared some of the things. For example, say on women's issue, I had prepared notes, so I could use those examples in GS4. Also, some of the quotes that I had prepared for, so I could use these notes in essay ethics also. Then topics of essays and most of the topics of ethics are also overlapping, because these days philosophical essays are being asked. So I tried to do that. Yeah, that's what I did. I tried to interlink each and every topic with GS subjects. For example, there is this issue of children. So in essay topic, I had written some anecdotes. Also, for children, I had prepared notes in various sections. For example, children related aspect is there in GS2, GS3. Then in demography also children has to be mentioned. Then midday meal scheme, some of the aspect related to children is there. Then food and nutritional security, again we have to talk about children. The impact of COVID on education, then we are talking about children. In health, in social safety net, in all these aspects, there is mention of children. So I used interlink, yes, sir.
So if you are having this digital note, this is one big advantage. So you can search based on the keyword and gather all the, mobilize the points easily.
Exactly, sir.
Great, great. So in which aspect Hindu is better? In which aspect the Express is better?
So with respect to governance part, I think Indian Express is fairly good. With respect to ethics part, Hindu helps. Ethics part, then society part, and then GS3 part. I think both the newspaper are fairly good. With respect to international relations, I found Indian Express of much help. That is there. And what if whenever the current issues we have to understand in their entirety or in the holistic manner. So for that thing, I think Indian Express is fairly good newspaper. The reason being in explained part, not in the physical copy of the newspaper, but in digital format on their app, they have explained part, and in which they have covered various issues extensively. And when we read the explained part, they usually cover the entire topic in a go. So that kind of helps us prepare that entire topic. So I think it is beneficial.
So what was your routine? You used to read the newspaper and make digital notes. So what was your routine with newspaper?
So I used to get up really early in the morning, because before they could deliver the newspaper physically, I used to read them. So the first thing that I used to do was I used to read both the newspaper. First of all, I used to read the only editorial part, because reading that editorial part in the end of the newspaper, then it gets really boring. So when I'm fresh, I used to read the editorial part from both the newspaper. After that, I used to read the explained part, then first page, and then business page, and then whatever is remaining, for example, national news or international news, I used to read it in the end, because those are the interesting topics. So this was my routine with respect to newspaper, but in the morning only, because during the evening we are not sure whether we are going to read it or not. Sometimes we get bored, sometimes some other things happen. So the most important thing I must complete in the morning only, this newspaper part.
Okay, so with respect to notes, you used to make only digital notes with respect to Hindu.
Right, yes, sir. Hindu and Express digital notes only. I used to use their apps.
Fine. So you used to follow their apps. So was it so now they have made it subscription, I think.
Yeah, subscription based. Yeah, Indian Express provides free newspaper, and Hindu we have to have subscriptions.
Yeah, fine.
But that is much more cheaper than subscribing to the physical format. So that is economical.
Exactly. So that is great. Since you are subscribing to the digital format, the digital note making part was very easy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So now we'll move on to the another aspect of GS. So with respect to GS paper 1, world history has a very large area, but with very less number of dividends and with the question. So how you prepared for world history, and geography part is not well defined. So what was your way of seeing the geography part of GS1?
So with respect to world history, I had taken the help of Vision IAS material notes
Okay.
for world history, because that was something that was available in my 2016 attempt. So after that, I had read it that time, so I didn't want to change it because it is not that rewarding topic. So I kept on using those notes only. I didn't want to change it so that I won't have to spare much of the time on that particular topic. So world history part I covered from Vision IS notes. And with respect to geography, although I tried to take help from PMFIS, but again that is a bulky book. I wasn't able to finish it on time. So the thing is, I mostly used NCRTs, then GC Leon, and Periyar book is there. One Periyar book is there, small book. So I took help from that Periyar book.
Okay.
Plus, more than at least for mains, more than reading these books, what helped me was practicing answer writing. I used to sit in the morning and used to write answers on daily basis, because when I'm writing answers with free mind, so that time many dynamic aspects come to our mind, because we have been reading it for long. So that becomes a part of personality. So when I'm writing answers with multiple dimension, I think those answers were becoming much more effective than the answers which I had written solely based on whatever knowledge that I had gathered from reading books. So I think that helped me.
Okay.
Plus,
so now, yeah.
So yeah, and I used to compare it with model answers, because so many model answers are available on the internet. When we type the question, then answers will appear. So I used to compare my answers with the model answers, and then used to check whether some of the extra topics are being, some of the extra points are being added by those model answers or not. If they're lacking in some aspect, and if I'm mentioning my those topics in my answer, then I used to feel good. So yeah, that was my attempt to write better answers than the model answers. So that's what I tried to do. So I think you're stuck.
Now
Hello?
it is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now coming back to the answer rating part, which you touched. So what was your answer rating? How did you approach answer rating? Was it strictly following the test series schedules, or taking the questions by yourself and writing it? And whether you wrote it daily basis or weekly basis, what was your answer rating throughout the journey? Can you elaborate about the answer rating throughout the journey?
Yeah. So in my earlier attempts, I didn't have much of the time. So like at least for 2016, I hardly had 45 days, because I wasn't confident enough that I would clear the prelims in that attempt. I had read this doubt because of the answers provided by some of the coaching classes. I had checked my paper. Then I realized I'm getting really less marks. And then some other answer key appeared. Then I checked my answers with that answer key as well. So there was some discrepancy in the answers. If by one answer key I was getting really less mark, another answer key was helping me get really good score. So I was really confused. This confusion helped me. This confusion didn't, actually confusion created some issues for me. I couldn't entirely focus upon answer writing or preparation. I was in dilemma whether I'll be able to clear it or not. And in the dilemma, actually wasted so much of my time. So only effectively 45 days were left. So am I... Hello?
Now it is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So that in that dilemma, I wasted around 45 days, because I wasn't able to focus entirely upon the answer writing part. So hardly 45 days were left. So in those 45 days, I wrote around 5 or 6 papers for optional, 2-3 papers for GS. That's it. In my 2016 attempt. In 2016, of course, I didn't clear. In 2018, I completed my test series for optionals. For GS, I didn't write many test series. After that, in 2019, as well, I was having anthropo, I didn't write any test, because I was really worried about the preparation only. I wasn't able to get the material, and that is the problem with anthropology, because we don't have any material which can cover almost entire syllabus. So that is actually the case with anthropology. So each and every student will have to prepare their own notes. So that is there. Of course, I didn't have my own notes. So my time got wasted in that only. But in 2000, after I wasn't able to clear the 2020 prelims, what I did was I I sat and wrote answers on daily basis on my own, not of any coaching classes. Before prelims only, I started answer writing, and then I used to compare it with my friends. Then I asked them to be really harsh with respect to my answer. If I am using more words in particular answer, then I asked them to be really harsh about it. I asked them to judge me really severely. So that kind of helped me to improve my answer skill. If my if my answers were not having any kind of structure, so I asked them to comment upon it, and it was a constructive criticism. Actually, that constructive criticism only helped me to somehow get good marks in this my eighth attempt.
So what was the routine?
So after reading newspaper, I used to sit one hour, 1.5 hour, and then I used to write the answers. Then after writing answers, example, if I'm writing answer for 10 questions, then after that we used to discuss those answers. What are the points mentioned by other people? Then we used to criticize each other for using too many words or not structuring the answers properly. So after a while, that helped me to frame better answers, to convey my points in less number of words, to effectively make the arguments. So I think that was usual practice. And after prelims, I had joined a test series for optional, and that test series I had rigidly followed the schedule given by coaching class. Like at least for that optional test series, whatever the schedule was there, I rigidly followed. Whether I have completed the study part or not, I didn't care. I just went there and wrote the answer. And that kind of gave me confidence that this exam is not about what you are reading, but whatever the knowledge that we have accumulated throughout over the years. So yeah, for that reason only I was confident enough.
Actually, that is the reality. Many aspirants think that only if they finish the syllabus, they will write or they will attend the test. So this is the right way. Whatever the level we have to write.
Right, sir. And also many of the aspirants think that once they are done with the syllabus and once they are done with the revision only, they will be appearing for the answer writing. But that is not the case. No matter how many times we have read, but unless and until we consciously go and write test multiple times, we are not going to improve. For the first answer that I had written, I had got around 35 marks out of 250. Now, I think this is the case with many people. So one shouldn't be afraid of writing answers and getting less marks, because once we are getting less marks, then only we can improve. Then there is a scope. So yeah, writing and studying are two different things. Whether we have finished our syllabus, whether we have completed the revisions, whether we have prepared our notes, it doesn't matter. Just we have to go and write the test, write the answers. That is one of the key strategies that we have to follow.
So one more question to add on here is, so while writing answers, so how did you whether you wrote the entire full answers, or you just used to brainstorm first, directly used to write answers, or first you used to brainstorm the points and then used to go? Like how
for 20 seconds, I used to frame the answer in my head. And also at times what I used to do, if I think that question, if I have the really good knowledge about that particular question, then I used to structure it on paper itself, just on the question paper itself. And then I used to frame the answer in that manner. Also, while practicing the answer, I had is the structuring part, because I knew what sort of dimensions that I need to add in order to give the holistic picture of what that particular topic. Say example, if issues with respect to women is being asked, so there are various dimensions, because they are facing problems with respect to economic participation, or patriarchy, that is social dimension is also there. Inadequate representation in administration, that is also one of the things. So there are various dimensions. That is one of the way to answer those questions. Apart from that, there is another dimension, is their life cycle approach, because they are facing this discrimination right from their childhood, not just right from womb to tomb, right, cradle to death. This is the issue that they are facing. So we have these many approaches. Either we are writing various dimensions, or we are tracing their life cycle, and then each stage of their life we can write the answer about what kind of problems they are facing. For example, if girl child is there, So in that case, there is no sufficient nutrition that there is there. Then neglect from parents is also there. Then with respect to her schooling, there is not much attention is being paid. If adolescence age is being attained, so then some sexual harassment cases also can crop in. So that problems can be added. Then dual burden of dealing with household work and then work outside also for daily wages worker, that is also there. So we can trace this life cycle approach also. So this kind of clarity that I had really good in my mind. The reason being I had practiced them before the exam only. So whenever I used to see the question, this kind of dimensions were already. It is asking. It is changing every year. Those questions cannot be prepared from whatever appear in the test series or whatever the part we are studying, because hardly 25 to 30 questions will be appearing from the static part. Rest of the 70 questions, or say example 60 questions, they'll be so dynamic. Either some clues about them will be in the newspaper, but mostly the common sense is going to help. And then common sense can be developed only by attempting the previous year question of UPSC and not test series. That is there. And one has to have that kind of confidence while appearing for the exam, because common sense and confidence, these are the keys to clear prelims. Otherwise, there is no other way out. If someone is going there and saying, I have read these many steps and it can guarantee my success in the prelims, that is not the case anymore. So we have to understand the pattern of the question, the kind of options that are being framed by the UPSC. If one attempts the paper multiple times, one will realize this is something that UPSC is tricking in. For example, earlier UPSC used to trick with respect to numbers. If 1600 calorie or 600 calories there, they used to add one extra zero or one extra one digit in front of it. For example, $100 billion commitment from various developed country is there towards the climate change. They used to add one extra zero. So this many tricking only is being done by UPSC. If one is not able to understand this kind of tricking, the way they are tricking, at times UPSC interchange the options. Say example, first option will be the first statement will be mentioned in the third option, and third of the data content related to the first option will be mentioned in the first option. So this kind of interchanging is also there. So this has to be realized by the aspirant on their own, only based on solving previous year question paper. If they study their basics well, if they are thorough with current affairs, plus if they have prepared previous year questions well and understood the pattern or kind of the way UPSC is tweaking the options, then I think it is relatively easier. Not exactly easy, but relatively easier. It becomes relatively comfortable for them to ace the prelims to an extent.
Exactly. Whatever you said is exactly fine. So one more question is that there are many prelims which you couldn't clear, and there are prelims which you could clear. Right. So what is the difference? That is the main reason for why you couldn't clear certain prelims, and what worked and why you cleared certain prelims?
So confidence. Only one answer, confidence. Reason being, when I went to Delhi and I was preparing from there, people used to solve 100 mock tests from various coaching classes. And I wasn't comfortable with solving those many questions. In fact, in the attempt when I got most number, like the highest score in prelims, I hadn't solved even one single test series from coaching class. In 2021, so I didn't appear for even one mock test. I solely based my strategy upon previous year question paper. That helped me to ace that prelim in that year. So again, it's not comment upon whether the within the test series are helpful enough or not. It is more of a comment upon whether I am comfortable, whether I get confidence from solving those test series or not. If I am losing my confidence by solving those test series, then there is no point of it. If I have sufficient time in order to solve those test series and then read the description or read the details about the answers, then it is fine. But during the last days, only confidence is going to help us. During the attempts which I couldn't clear my prelims, I was lacking in confidence. And during the attempts I was I could clear the prelims, I was confident despite not studying that hard. So that is the key. Because if one is calm, if one is confident and tries to attempt the prelims paper, one can easily score minimum 120 marks comfortably. So if that is the case, then what is the problem? Like in that exam hall, if we are losing confidence, we are doubting ourselves, then it is definitely going to cost us that. That is the only one week scenario.
Exactly. Confidence is the crucial
Right.
part. So you gave your first attempt in 14, second attempt
Right.
in 15, third attempt
Right.
in 16. So
Right.
you couldn't clear prelims in first 2 attempts.
Right.
So and you will be very much with low confidence.
Right.
So what made you clear in 2016? What additional inputs you did? What additional strategy you followed to clear in 16?
So I think I lagged in my preparation during my first 2 attempts. The first reason being I wasn't aware about the books that I'm supposed to read. Right, because back in 2015, most of us were not aware. Most of us were not aware about exact or the books that we are supposed to read.
Pre-internet era, pre-YouTube.
Yeah, right, exactly. That was the case. In 2015, sir, Tina Dabi ma'am had prepared the video as I mentioned. So I went through her video. Then an academy was just launching. So
Roman
they were
Saini
free.
Roman
Saini, exactly.
He was in fire.
Yeah, he was in fire, sir. So that time, Roman Saini sir and Tina Dabi ma'am, they had prepared the video, and that kind of gave me clarity. But today it is freely available on all sources. Most of the toppers are writing their blogs also. Most of the toppers have created their own Telegram channel, so one can easily access the kind of books that they have read, resources that they have followed, and their strategy also. That is freely available. So that costed me my first 2 attempts. After that, a friend of mine who cleared prelims in 2015 told me these are the books that I'm supposed to read. I made the list of those books, and then I started reading on those lines. And since then, I'm reading mostly on those lines only. At times, I add some extra books or some extra notes, but my basic is only based on those that list, and that is fairly common for almost everyone. That is there. Plus, I think if one is not ready to put in hard work, then there is a chance there is certainty that one won't succeed. And if we are putting hard work, so there is dense chance that success will come through our way. That is simple equation, linear equation. So there is no much ups and downs in that equation.
Okay, great. So now finally coming to the personality test part.
Right.
So we hope that your KingMakers IAS Academy did a very small role in your DAF preparation and with the one-on-one sessions. So how was the personality development module of KingMakers, and how useful it was for your personality test part?
So it was extremely useful. Extremely useful. The reason being, Hari Narayan sir had taken a session, and that was the only session that kind of boosted my confidence. He made us so comfortable to have faith and confidence in our personality, because each of us have different personality. But if we manage to reflect that personality honestly, genuinely, to the best of our abilities, I think that helps us, and that confidence remained with me till the end of my interview. I think that was the sole factor that I could get relatively more marks than my previous attempt. So yeah, that is just the one way answer. That's all. It was really helpful, and that also in this scenario also, the confidence is the only key, and that confidence was boosted by Hari Narayan sir.
Great to hear the story. So one more thing is, so during the last 1 month of the prelims preparation, what are certain things which the aspirant should do to boost their confidence?
At least have 1 to 1.5 months buffer for revision. We have to finish all the books beforehand only. At least 5 months preparation is necessary for prelims. If one is not clearing the prelims consistently, then that much of time is needed. Then last 1.5 months, we have to first we can solve some mock test series just to add to our knowledge. But that process should be continued for entire 5 months. But during the last phase, what we have to have is we should be so much good with our revision that we are able to finish the entire syllabus, say example, within 3 days, last 3 days. That kind of revision that we have to have. Plus, during the last month, I think relying entirely upon question paper since 2014, that would help. Reason being, the kind of questions that are being asked now are mostly in sync with the questions they have started asking since 2014. So that kind of prepare our mindset to face that kind of question, and it also helps us understand the pattern. Because what the examiner is trying to check is how well that we can perform under that pressure. Mostly they are just trying to trick us. They are not testing our knowledge. They are just trying to check our presence of mind, common sense, and how calm we can approach that question, right? So they try to play with our mind with some games. Mostly it is like a game only. So that game and their strategy can be understood only by solving the question paper since 2014 during the last phase of our preparation. And I think during the exact last days, example 1 or 2 days of our exam, one should relax. One shouldn't burden themselves with too much of study. That is strategy that has helped me, because ultimately in the final exam, how calm and how well rested our mind is, how freely we can think, that is helping. So I think that is the strategy that I followed, which helped me, and I think this can help some of the people out there. Because again, there is another way also. Some of the people, they study till last minute and still they manage to clear it. So it's not like there is one single formula. If 1,000 people have cleared exam, then 1,000 people having their different strategy. For me, this strategy worked. For others, some other strategy can also be of help.
Okay, so we are coming to the last question of this very long discussion. So what is that few do's and don'ts which you as a senior aspirant or a person who succeeded after 10 years, you say a fresher, that is a person who's doing a first or second attempt, should do? Doing this will help that person a lot, and they should surely avoid doing it, the mistakes which you have learned, as an advice to the first freshers. What is the advice you will give?
So first and foremost being, analyze our strength and weaknesses. Because if there is a weakness, then UPSC is going to exploit it, no matter what. If one is weak in CSAT, then CSAT will penalize them person. If one is weak in current affairs, then current affairs is going to penalize the person. So have no weakness, at least with respect to preparation. That is one of the key strategy. Also, we have to understand what sort of skill set is required at each stage. In prelims, answers are given the question. So we have to understand the kind of the pattern with which they are tricking us. So that can be understood with the help of previous year questions. So previous year questions is must to solve the prelims. We have to be really thorough with our basics, and that basics, the list of basics is fairly common for everyone. So basics will help us solve 30 questions at the max. Rest of the 70 questions will be only based on common sense, the wisdom that we have gained from the solving previous year question paper, plus confidence and clarity that can help. Plus we shouldn't ignore the CSAT, because time and again many people are ignoring CSAT, and despite getting good marks in GS paper, they are not able to clear prelims. So we have to have this balanced approach. That is first and foremost thing, at least with respect to prelims. With respect to mains, I think what happens is revising, having your own content, innovating your
video and audio is, your video and audio is stuck a bit. Can you repeat the main
audible now, sir?
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's
so that's what revising our basics, having the clarity of our content. Sir, I think issues with that. Am I audible now, sir? Okay. So we have to improvise and innovate our answer, because ultimately, if we have this herds mentality, then we are going to get average marks. If we want good marks, then we have to innovate our own answers on our own. For this, peer group can help. If we have the group of like-minded people with a kind of intelligence that we share, we have in common, that can also help. being honest with each other while criticizing each other, and providing some inputs that can also help. Because the thing is, most of the time what happens when they're writing answers in coaching classes, usually the people who are evaluating the paper, they won't be giving personalized feedbacks, just general feedbacks, because they're also bored of checking that many answers. So peer groups here can help. If one can have good mentor to whom one can approach whenever one is facing difficulty, that is also good help. And while structuring our answer, we have to have few things very clear. For example, first is knowledge base. Without knowledge base, we cannot write good answer. Second point being analytical skill. Analytical skill can be developed from newspaper. If we are reading the newspaper on daily basis, that analytical skill can be developed. Third is neutrality, because while taking stand, we have to have this kind of neutrality. We cannot be biased towards each other. Plus balanced approach. While concluding, we have to have balanced approach, because each and everything has some kind of merits and demerits. So we have to have that balanced approach. So these are the two things with respect to prelims and mains. With respect to setbacks or failures that we get in the various stages, one has to understand this is just another exam. So treat it like exam only and not a life death situation, because most of the people these days are treating it like that only, and they are putting extra burden on themselves, which is hampering their performance. So if one is freely approaching the exam like exam only, then one can really perform well. And again, the outcome of this exam is not judgment upon or comment upon one's talent or one's skill. So have that faith. If one is preparing for this exam, one will surely do really good in their life, no matter what field they are entering in, if not civil services. And if we are realizing, okay, this particular thing is a weakness, then we have to overcome it. Because Murphy's laws say, if things are likely to go wrong, they will go wrong. So we have to prepare that for that likeliness. And again, we have to write answers like a bureaucrat only and not a layman. For example, on some tea stall, we can really discuss about everything and anything under the sun. But as long as we don't substantiate our argument with some kind of facts, some kind of data, there is no point to our argument. So that personality trait has to be developed since right from start. That is there. And the syllabus of GS and optional are designed in such a manner that we can interconnect all of them. So that interconnecting has to be there. Then if there is a group, then value addition can be done in that group. And I have observed that if there is a group which is dedicated enough, then that entire group is selected. If not in the same year, but in later year. So that helps, because if someone is clearing exam this year, so that acts as a motivation. When one is going through failures, series of setbacks, so the success of others can also be the motivating factor for us. So that particular thing can help. And if one is undergoing through some kind of doubt, so one should freely approach people who are selected or mentor they are having, because being shy is not going to reward us anything. So approaching, because people are ready to help, only the thing is we have to ask for help. That's what I have observed. If you are shying away from asking for help, then that is going to cost us at least another year, because that has been the case with me. I was shy from asking for help, and that costed me so many years. That is there. Also, one should refer to the topper's copy, because we have to fashion our answer in such a manner that if the topper is writing some good points, if topper is writing in certain fashion which has rewarded him or her, then that can definitely help us. So referring to topper's copies can also be of help. Plus, one thing is very crucial in this preparation is that going through each and every topic of the syllabus, we have to prepare syllabus. UPSC won't be asking questions out of syllabus. In most of the cases, in prelims stage, there is no guarantee, but at least in mains, mostly if we are preparing thoroughly on the syllabus and integrated with current affairs, then mostly or most of the questions can be prepared beforehand only. And one must trust his or her own strategy. or writing of answer style of answer writing. If that confidence is there and not changing the answers strategy in the last moment, that can definitely reward us, because that strategy we have practiced so many times. For me, that thing actually backfired, because I changed my strategy in the last moment, so that it costed me so many marks in GS4. So I would suggest that have faith in your own strategy. Yeah, I think that sums up everything. Sir.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Nitish, for sharing all your experiences. So thanks for sparing more than 1.5 hours of your time and discussing your strategy, so that it will benefit a lot of the aspirants. It is nothing of less stature what you have achieved. It is 10 years of sheer hard work, 8 attempts and seven failures. Even after 7 failures, you have come back and you have given the attempt, and that is a very bold decision, and that is a very inspiring story for most of our aspirants. So one important thing which is reflected from your story is, apart from our preparation, we need the support of parents and friends. Right, and after 7 years, that another important impressive thing is, instead of considering the 8th attempt as the 8th, you consider that as your first attempt. So that is very important thing which most of the senior aspirants should take. And I hope a lot of the first attempters who are seeing this video would have got certain inputs for their own preparation. Like he said, we should get the best practices from the toppers, and we should have our own individualized touch to our preparation. That is the only way we are going to clear this examination. And as a part of KingMakers IAS Academy and our CMD, Mr. Bhuminathan sir, I would like to congratulate you for your success in this examination. And we wish that you give your next attempt and become IAS soon. And, and we also wish that you become a very good civil servant and do the service to the people who are in need and people who should be uplifted, and you serve as a true civil servant for the national building. With all the best wishes from KingMakers, we would like to wind up this session. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much. It was an honor talking to you. Sir.
Yeah.